There we go. So like I said, you overcame and you're here. You conquered the challenges and the obstacles in the way. And so I want to commend you. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us. As you know, my name is Roger Gauthier. I'm the founder and CEO of TriVision Global. And like I said, today joining me is Dr. Cheryl Ann Needham, who is the co-founder of Steward Now. So again, thanks for attending the training. As you know, today's training is going to be called 28 Days to Freedom. One of the things I like to share is that the best part of this particular training is that it's really without hype, any mumbo jumbo, any super stealth tactics or technology overwhelm, because I know how difficult things can become when they get overwhelming. We sort of freeze in our tracks like a deer in the headlights of an oncoming car. So today, this 28 Days to Freedom is the live module component part of a course that we had developed called Strategic Freedom 2.0. And I'm going to basically share a set of principles with you today and a process that if you choose to learn it and implement it, that it really can set you on the course to real freedom. It's going to lay that foundation for you. Not that you'll be free in 28 days, so to speak, but it lays the foundation so that you're on your journey. You're beginning your journey with us today. Now I'm going to teach you this by showing you a process that God taught me through my own life journey that enabled us to build an online business that generated more than $45,500 a week in 90 days. And I'm going to talk about how I built that online business in 90 days using some simple strategies that anybody can use, and it'll work whether it's online or offline. But before I get started, I want to just mention, go get your favorite motion potion and shut off the distractions, close your tabs on your computer, shut off the cell phone, get all those notifications. You got to apologize here, guys. My dog is moaning for some reason. We don't understand why. So, but get yourself comfortable, focus your full attention, buckle up your seatbelts because we're going to zip through this quickly. But I do want to also make a special announcement. I wanted to say that for those of you who are going to stick to the end of this presentation, I want to do something for you and give you something extremely valuable, about $1,200 worth of value that will really help you tremendously. It's not just going to be something that you can add to your digital dust file that you already have, but secondly, I'm also going to give away a participation bonus. So the person who participates the most via our text system, I want to pass something along to you as well. Now, before we really get going here, I want to ask you 3 questions, and then I'll take a break here and just have Dr. Cheryl Ann say hello. But I want you to write 3 questions because doing so will really ensure that you get the most value out of the time that we have together here today. When you ask these 3 questions, anytime you come to an event and you write down your expectations of what you want to get from the event is when you seem to get what it is that you're looking for. So first question, what do you want most out of today? What are you hoping to gain as we come together and go through this material? Secondly, why do you want it? What's so important that you have this material? And then thirdly, what are the main reasons for you not moving forward aggressively on your dreams? So write those 3 questions down, and let me turn it over to just Dr. Cheryl Needham real quick, let her say hello, and then we'll move on. But I would like her to introduce herself and give a little background. So Dr. Cheryl, I'm going to turn it over to you. I think your speaker is still off there.
There we go. Hey, everybody. Good to have you join us today. I'm really excited about this session. I actually co-hosted last year when Roger did this, and I'll tell you, I was so impressed with the level, the breadth, and the depth of content that he put together. You know, there's a lot of training out there, and it's really important to be able to sort through the noise until you find someone with a voice. And so I'm really excited to be here today and just support the content, support people just being able to walk in the freedom and fulfill what God's called them to do. And to do that, we have to put in some effort. We have to put in some work to to learn and to be able to walk out that freedom. And so I think you're going to have a lot of takeaways today. You're really going to want to take notes because there's going to be a lot of content that Roger will be covering. So I really encourage you. I want to echo what he said. Shut off the distractions so you can tune in and literally walk away with some things that you can do today to move forward with what he's put on your heart. Back to you, Roger.
There we go. Thanks, Dr. Cheryl. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward. I'm going to be turning it over later to her as well as we unpack some of the content on today's presentation. She's got some wonderful stuff and some tremendous insights that I think you're going to find extremely valuable for today. So let me just kind of give you a quick little brief intro to myself. Just to kind of give you a little background where I'm coming from. Obviously, I've been my primary role really is to be a husband to my wife and a father to my children. That's where I have my PhD, if you will, a perfect husband and dad. At least that's what I aim for. I'm also, really dedicated to improving lives, if you will, for others. I've spent probably close to 30 years in the personal development and spiritual growth industry. And my passion has been to really help people with their lives, because when my life was touched years ago, I traveled with an international speaker by the name of Jim Rohn. He had touched my life at a time when I was very influenceable. My life wasn't doing too well. And as you will learn, and as you probably have read during the emails that have gone out, I was making about $19,000 a year when he came into my life. And so he was the first major influence that started to help me understand that life could be better if we were to apply certain aspects and understandings and philosophies or mindsets to our lives. Now, I just want to reiterate that this stuff that I'm sharing with you, I like how Jonathan Fillmore shares it. He calls it vanity matrix. It's great stuff, looks good on paper, makes them sound really cool, but the reality is that it's just, it's just stuff to help you understand where we're coming from. But like I said, I've been in the personal development industry now for more than 30 years. I worked and promoted people like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Tony Alessandra, and a whole bunch of others. I've been involved in one of the startups of the first personal development network that was launched, called the People's Network. I've advised countless entrepreneurs and business owners over the years, as well as a few celebrities, people like Wally Amos at Famous Amos Cookies, a woman by the name of Barbara Stepp, who's the renowned master trainer for NLP. And it's already, there's too many bullet points here to go through, but I just want to reiterate that one of my key factors that I always do is I try to invest my own money on developing my skills and growing my own life and business, as we're going to be sharing. So what I'm going to be presenting to you really does work, okay? What I want to connect with you here is what you're going to learn during today's presentation. First thing we're going to talk about really is why people don't realize their goals and their dreams. And it's probably going to be a little bit different than what you've heard before. We're going to discuss why goal setting is not as powerful as the process we're talking about here. Now, we're not talking about goal setting, really. We're going to be talking about, but what's going to come out of this is you're going to understand why goal setting doesn't work and why this process is so powerful. We're going to talk about how to create that space for you to dream again. And then we're going to discuss a powerful process that can flesh out almost every step that you need to take to your dreams, almost, I say. And if you watch one of my videos, I said we don't know all the steps because it's a journey, it's an adventure, and God certainly doesn't reveal every single step. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't step out. But we certainly can create a rough roadmap for us to understand the process we've got to go through. And it is one of the same processes, however, what one of the most elite helicopter teams in the world uses, called the Night Stalkers. They're able to deliver their secret warrior client anywhere in the world, plus or minus 30 seconds of their designated time. We're going to discuss a little bit about what's called a chunk down method and an incredible productivity hack that literally forces you to follow through on carrying out your plans. And then finally, how you'll actually realize more of your goals in the next 365 days if you use this simple approach each night, week, month, and year. Now, when you do this, what's really going to happen is we're going to answer the 7 points that we promised during my, if you went to the registration page of this webinar, you saw 7 points, which really was how to demolish the chains that hold your destiny hostage, the 7 pillars that you have to have in place to realizing a goal, 4 keys every person needs to master to realize their destiny, 3 key mindsets you've got to adopt in order to defeat the enemy to stop you from realizing your destiny, how to identify what's been stopping you, the 7 core needs you need to fulfill properly, along with how to realize more of the goals in the next 365 days. Now, I want to talk about real quickly here why this is different. Now, I know you have heard or participated in online programs, goal setting workshops before, which is not what really this is, as you'll see, but I think you might think that there's nothing new. And I'm almost certain that you've potentially seen webinars on how to achieve goals or read articles and even attended workshops. So I want to go over some key differences really quick on what we're doing today and what may have been done in the past. I'm going to talk fast. I want to keep it high energy, but I also want to get through this in an expedient amount of time here. So again, this presentation, if it records well, then you can go back and catch and take notes then too as well and catch up where you may have missed it. So I want to mention that this has all been born from hardship, trial and error of my own life, from spending over $250,000 now over the years on how to succeed, to discover what no one ever taught me, really, which were these simple little strategies. You know, I spent all that money and nobody ever bothered to teach me this. So it was kind of through my own trial and error. And I had to say, really, any goofball or nincompoop or individual can write down a bunch of stuff on paper that they're dreaming about. But when it comes to real world application, it's a whole different ballgame. And that's really what this is. It's from the real world. It works in all industries of life and life situations and desires, from everyday mom and pop organizations to large corporations to financial services, industries like real estate, spiritual growth. For those of you who are passionate about your spiritual growth, you can apply this to your walk with God and increase that as well. You can apply it to your health and fitness objectives, to your marriage. And so it really does apply to everything. There's no fancy software or gizmos or anything to lose or break with this process. And as I mentioned, it's the same process that's used by one of the most elite helicopter teams in the world to flesh out their objectives and their goals into tangible steps. And it takes into consideration the normal challenges of life, right? We all have things that happen to us throughout the day and week and year and can kind of try to derail us, but really it takes that into consideration. It also compels you to actually do what you set your heart and mind to do. And then, of course, it also enables you to track your progress. And so I want to mention why this is particularly important to you now. I mean, why is this so important to you right now? Well, as I mentioned, goal setting stuff is dead wrong. What you've learned, it certainly inspires us. It gets people all hyped up in their New Year's resolutions and other personal development stuff. But in the end, it really does leave you more regretful and disappointed. And the other thing is that the market saturation has really made people immune to what we call goal setting. There's so many people out there trying to peddle their so-called workshops and seminars that don't really work. And a lot of people have really given up. And so the other thing is that most programs literally collect digital dust, I call it. How many different teachers and ministers and pastors and all kinds of personal health gurus have given their tapes and CDs out, and they sit there and never to be listened to. So we're going to help you by adding our secret sauce to make sure this doesn't happen to you at all. And you're also going to have a clear roadmap. When you can see the actual tangible steps that are needed to obtain a dream or a vision, you really become excited, become motivated and encouraged to step out and begin your journey. You look forward to getting out of bed in the morning, and you almost have this internal GPS and clock to make sure you stay on track. The other thing why it's important is your life's gonna take on new purpose, right? When we get beat up and banged around by life, we can really start to give up. Those voices in our head start to speak and discourage us from moving forward. And so once you start to see this process and you really realize that you're here for a reason, that there's something that you have been assigned specifically to do that really only you can do, then you can tap into a new sort of inspiration, of power, of motivation, if you will, to accomplish that person. So this really is a breakthrough approach that enables you to clarify your purpose, get clear on the steps, generate that new motivation and creativity, and then finally realize the dream you've been holding on to for so long. Now, I know it may sound a little bit hard, but I want to walk you through it today. But the bottom line that you have to understand is that the world we live in, the game has changed. Okay, things are changing and moving so fast that if you don't understand and under these skills and abide by these principles, you can literally become stranded on the digital reservation and wonder why life is so hard. I was just in a program with Darren Hardy, and he talked about over the next couple of years, we're going to have addictions that are so powerful. They're going to be 40 times more powerful than the distractions and the addictions of technology that we have today. And so the processes that we use in order to manage our life have to change. We can't use old tactics and strategies that were used in the past. And so we really need to make sure that we adapt these new strategies. Now, you might be wondering right now if you're in the right place, if this is for you. And so I want to encourage you that if you're a seasoned veteran to what people call goal planning, but you sense that there's something you're missing, that maybe that you're frustrated that you haven't reached all your goals, then I want to encourage this is definitely for you, because you'll find and finally see why those goals have been eluding you. Also, if you're new to what we call dream architecture and you've never learned how to turn a dream into reality, then this is certainly for you. I must say I'm not one for doing things with a lot of technology, so you're going to get a simple and easy approach to get from point A to point B. Also, if you're someone who knows that there's just more to life than you're currently experiencing and you want to discover what that more is, then this is for you. If you're fed up with what life has dished out so far, the circumstances you find yourself in, and you want to experience a more prosperous, joyful, and fulfilled life, then I want to encourage you. This is going to be for you today too. And if you're someone that maybe, that dream has been beat out of you, that life crushed you and beat you, then this is definitely for you, because you're going to discover why it's been so hard and what is about to happen to resurrect that dream for you. And of course, if you want to rise above the noise of those who are lost and confused about life and are sadly going nowhere, then this is definitely for you. Matter of fact, you just got to turn on the TV and get a quick picture of that, right? Now, before we go any further, I want to establish real quickly some ground or house rules for you, okay? The first thing I want you to understand that what we're going to talk about today is I refuse to get engaged in anything that encourages a get-rich-quick approach. I've experienced get-rich-quick moments, but that usually preceded years of hard work. And I can tell you that when you do things right, you certainly will experience the wealth of life more quickly than if you do it wrong. But if you think you're going to come here and walk out today with riches tomorrow, then you're heading into a very hard, long road, as I can attest. So again, this is not a get-rich-quick approach. If you're also looking for a do-nothing to realize your dreams, this isn't for you. As Dr. Sherilyn said, it takes work. This isn't a formulaic instant unicorn or magic meditation under pyramid system to make your dreams come true. Like I said, so this definitely isn't the place if that's what you think. This is real work steps that will enable you to get to where you're going, what you're doing, and it really what it takes to make those dreams come true. Next, there's no grandiosity here, right? If you've never achieved a big goal, it's going to take time to get where you're comfortable manifesting ideas into reality. Maybe 1% of the people will be able to take this approach and make a huge dream come true in the next 365 days. But the reality is it takes work, we said. I need to say that my results aren't anywhere near typical. I know I threw some pretty big numbers out at the beginning. Like I said, I generated more than 45,000 within a week, within 90 days of laying out my own strategic freedom plan. Now, it should be pretty obvious, hopefully, but I have to say it anyways, it's my prayer that you guys will get results and that many of you will get way better results than I did. But the sad truth is that many will allow the enemy of life to steal their dreams and rob them of their destiny because they don't take what is happening seriously. They sort of approach life with this half-hearted attitude, But I must say that those who are willing to fight for their life and their future and take an intensely focused effort, then they're going to walk in their dreams. And because you're here today on this workshop, you've definitely stepped up and said yes. But realize I'm not going to make any sort of claim here that you're going to make millions overnight or you're going to make every dream come true overnight. I don't know anything about your life, what you've done up till now, where you are, how much training you have, what your habits are, your thinking, or anything like that. So frankly, it's basically my unsubstantiated claim that most people who buy any how-to stuff and training won't get any results whatsoever. I probably sense that it's the same reason that people buy all that weight loss equipment and ends up hanging their unused jackets and sweaters on there and they don't lose weight, right? So I know that's mostly pretty self-evident stuff, but it's very important to make that clear. So anyways, for everyone who's still with me, and I pray it's most of our viewers today, why don't we get started and get to work? So the first thing I want to share is I do have a small, tiny confession to make. Now, you may think with my background and some of the things I shared, or that you'll see on the slide, that I have a slight advantage having worked with some of the biggest names in the personal development industry. You may have something going back in your mind that says that, well, yeah, you've got really great results in life because of your connections and your experience being in the industry and traveling with these successful people. And while there is a degree of truth there, and I did have that opportunity to cultivate relationships over the last 20 years, beginning with my own journey, which you'll find out started in 1989 when my girlfriend stole my credit card and used it to buy clothes for a date with another guy. So there is a little bit of an advantage, but in that, like I said, I've been here for 30 years. I've gained some insight, but I think naturally you might be thinking I'd have immediate success, that I'd find it easy to accomplish goals and dreams since I was with these guys for so long and having been in the entrepreneurial space for 30 years as well. And I've just got to tell you that really, no. If only that were the case. I must say that I have a classic case of crash and burn. Now, I don't want to go into all the details here because I know we all have our own hardship stories. We all have our own life experience, but my goal is to kind of share with you that, look, tough stuff happens and that's okay because it's part of the journey. It's part of what we have to go through. It's the steps on that ladder to the ultimate vision and dream. And so I don't want to go through all of it, but I will try to touch just briefly on it. If you've been a follower of mine or caught any of my posts on social media or read my blog post, you know that, and probably have sensed that the usual pattern of mine is to go totally into thinking that I know what I'm doing with this confidence and zeal. And what ends up happening is I get just neck deep into stuff and I realize that I have totally screwed up. And then I've got to begin praying and scrambling to figure out how to do it right. If you were to ask my kids about how I rented a tractor from Home Depot to level the backyard, you will know firsthand how my son watched me cry out to the Lord that I didn't screw it up. So anyways, when I first got involved in the entrepreneurial space of internet marketing, like I said, I jumped in, I got all excited, and I invested about $3,000 in this 3-day training class to learn how to put my website on steroids. And when it all came out, when I finished that program, I was what we used to call ignorance on ice. I began creating all these domains and websites and so-called systems, and I made a few $100s here and there. And it's an old joke about what's the difference between a pizza and a beginning internet marketer. And it basically says that a pizza can feed a family of 4. And so I had landed a few clients, generated some new income for me, but I got this harebrained idea that went against my own advice to using my own system to take what I had learned in the seminar business and apply it to what I was doing online. And it was something that was completely backward from what I knew. I abandoned my own systems and began doing stuff off the cuff. And one of those off the cuff ideas is I tried doing a big seminar in Jacksonville, Florida back in 2008. And I invested all this money, probably about $30,000, and rented a huge convention center, paid for the developing the radio commercials, a bunch of slots on radio and TV as well. And I put out signs all over the city, and I was even going to pay for a big semi truck to come to the event, pull up, record the whole thing, burn it onto CDs so that right after the event we could make those CDs available. I flew speakers in from all around the country. I paid for the hotel rooms. I paid for a VIP network meeting the evening before and a huge dinner after the event. And like I said, I shelled out probably close to $30,000, and I made a ton of mistakes. I ended up with 3 sales. Yeah, I mean, to say that this was a disaster is an understatement. I was stunned and wondered what in the world just happened, because in my seminar experience with Jim Rohn, I was used to putting 800 to 1,000 people in a room, and all of a sudden I had 3. I have to tell you that there's nothing more humbling, in my opinion, than a spectacular public failure, and to put yourself all out there in front of your peers only to fall on your face. I mean, like I said, I was out on radio, I was out on TV, and but I have to say that this is where things really began to blow up in my face, because I literally almost lost everything. Now I need to make a little caveat saying this is not the first time I lost everything, but I didn't want to go into my full hardship story, so maybe down the road we'll share that. But if you read in my post on my website, The Dark Night of Love on my blog, by the time I had all the dust had settled, like not only did I lose $30,000, but the IRS hit me up for a $40,000 unlawful judgment. All my clients were lost. To add misery to my plate, I had a flood in my home while I was on a month-long vacation. So I lost my ability to service my clients right when the economy took that nosedive in 2009. I lost my 401k. I went upside down on my mortgage, and I almost lost my wife and my family. So, and I have a smile on my face. That's because I can smile about it now after all these years. But anyways, to make matters worse, my business partner at the time forgot to tell me that he had removed the credit card from my autoresponder, and so that we had for our company. And because that company couldn't get paid, they deleted my entire tribe, which pretty much severed my arm and legs and head. It was the revenue to our business. It really caused me not just to go into hibernation, but to really do some deep spiritual seeking, because it was like getting hit in the gut, like when you get the wind knocked out of you, someone punches you, and it was like getting hit in the spiritual gut. My wind just got completely knocked out of me. But like I said, I shelled out $30,000. You can go to my website. You can read the post, Dark Night of Love. But to make the second part, I want to just show you, like I said, failure doesn't come just necessarily in onesies and twosies. It's a lifelong journey. But after I licked my wounds from that particular battle, I ended up going back online. I tried building a membership portal, and I took the time to literally have copywriters write for me and create nice sales letters. I promoted it via social media through what I thought was a big JV partner, and targeted advertising, and kind of again lost my focus and my plan, and I got off into the wood, into the big unicorn kind of thing, and I ended up actually having only one person give it a beta test. After all of that work, I looked literally like an idiot. I lost the respect of all my peers. I made, I think in the end, after shelling out about $100,000 after everything was over, a grand whopping 500 bucks, right? So I guess I lost more than 100,000, but maybe, what was it, 900 or $90,500 anyways. So just kind of a little intro into my own desire to change the world through internet marketing. And I just want to say, so, if you are a little nervous about having a dream come true and stepping out to make that reality, and you're scared because of failure, I just want to tell you that I've been there, I've done that, and thankfully it's not so bad. I mean, right? Fortunately, people don't come out into the streets and threaten to tar and feather you or hang you from the highest tree. Of course, of some of what's going on today in the media, you kind of wonder. So the question you have to ask is, now what, right? And I realized after being dejected and heartbroken over it, I thought really that what happened, and I thought I was doing God's plan, I thought I was doing the right thing, I thought we were going to be multimillionaires. You have all these big plans and dreams that you have, the dreams that you think it's going to be totally awesome, how you're going to change the world, what your house is going to look like, your car, how you're going to invest and use the money, how you're going to maybe buy your family the things that they've wanted, the vacations, the ministries you want to help. But then when boom, it explodes and blows up in your face, not only do you not make any money, you lose money. And I have to tell you, I fell into a deep state of depression. But I had to return to my former employer. I was a flight attendant for the airlines, just to keep food on the table and a roof over my head. And I used the time to focus on my spiritual life. And one of the things that I realized is you really have two decisions to make when all this stuff goes down. And they're really like curtains. Curtain number one is you can abandon your dream and just go hide under a rock or something. And, plenty of people do that. There are plenty of things that I could do other than what I was doing. It may not be as exciting. It may not be my passion, but I certainly could just manage through life. And a lot of people do that. The second thing I can do is I could seek God, get wisdom on, how things should have been done in the first place. What happened? Obviously figure it out, right? How to make the right changes along the way. So the thing that I did, gratefully, by the counsel of many people to help me, is I made the wise decision is I decided to focus on my spiritual relationship. Because really, who knows better how to do things than God himself, right? He runs the world, and there's no one ever that has accomplished a dream by being quitters. And so if you want to understand what's going on, seek God, right? Because quitters typically get an absolute net zero when it comes to realizing the vision that God's given them. Secondly, I turned out all the many voices that were screaming for my attention, that were only interested in selling me stuff, and began to focus my energies on really trying to hear from the divine word of God, if you will, to develop habits to hear and follow what I was really supposed to do. And thirdly is I chose to embrace, once again, the principles and the strategies and the techniques we're going to be sharing today. And as you would have it, serendipity played into effect here, and some wonderful books came across my path that kind of opened my eyes and helped me to see a different story unfold as to what happened as a result of me not only abandoning these key principles and strategies, but also to enlighten my understanding as to the truth in life. Because being in that industry for 30 years, I had developed some ideas about life and what success meant. And I needed to have a checkup from the heart up, if you will, from the neck up. I needed to realize a different side of the equation that I hadn't understood before. And so two of those books were Faith in the Night Season by Nancy Missler, another book called Experiencing the Depths of Jesus Christ. And the last one was The Power of the Blood of Jesus Christ by A.W. Tozer. Andrew Murray. Now I share that because the things that were revealed to me, the things I understood, and what I found out is that the other people out there, they can't, nor will they teach you these things. That's one of the things I like to think of myself as a major differentiator between myself and other people, is that you might have the opportunity to focus on and learn from, is that, first of all, I focus on the core spiritual principles that have been proven to work over time, in all times, whether it's the hard, lean times or the prosperous times. And most gurus out there, and like I said, I'm not a guru, I kind of get lumped into that, but most of those people out there, they can't teach you these things. these particular gurus, they don't share their tactics. They don't really teach you everything because they either have not truly paid the price of what it takes to understand these things, or they hold them back so they can make more money from you. There's a great movie, I think it's called Isaiah, and it's a story of what happens after the great apocalypse. And I don't want to go into the full details, but there's an exquisite scene of someone who's trying to utilize these principles to once again take advantage of the people. And so it's a great movie, you get a chance. But anyways, you know, they don't want to teach you these things. Or the other thing is that maybe they think they have learned these things, but yet they're teaching false principles so that they can gain followers to pay their tithes or build their building programs or their expensive homes and lifestyles. But really, they want you to depend on them. So they keep you coming back to buy more of their materials. And if they teach you everything that they knew, you wouldn't need them anymore, really. And then thirdly is they don't teach the spiritual principles that are behind their results because either, like I said, they don't know them, or they're afraid that if they go all spiritual on you, you're going to wig out and leave. And I've got to tell you, I've got more faith in you than that. I've come to learn that the true peace, the joy, and the fulfillment only come when we place our whole focus on the spiritual. When you truly know in your heart of hearts that this is where life is, it's at that point that you're going to experience the wonders of life. Now, like I said, I invested $250,000 in the personal development, self-help world over the years in my own life, only to find out, first of all, there's really only one approach which really produces life, and really everyone yearns for it. It's only when you follow that true path that you have been called to, and you're using a proper planning approach, do you feel content and have peace. You end up just literally knowing that you're doing the right thing. And as a result, when you do that, and that's where I'm coming from, this approach that I'm sharing you was birthed out of that particular process that enables you to discover and map out and realize the steps that you need to take to realize that dream. I like to call it the sacred warrior's journey. It really is what everyone is searching for, and they don't understand or know it, and maybe they're a little frustrated because they're not experiencing it completely. But while it produces that process that you go through here, it'll produce the joy and the peace that people really want. I can say that it is easy to do. The problem is that the steps to take are not easy if you choose to resist the process of transformation. So this process is distilled from real work application. It's enabled me to create some great results in the last 90 days from inception to reality with the current life situation that I had back then. So like I said, it's the same process that's helping me right now in my own life with all the challenges and obstacles that I face and that I'm currently dealing with. And if I didn't have it, I'm certain that I would fall apart. So again, who cares about me? Let's talk about what can be done with you and for you now. And I want to show you how this approach works so you can see for yourself whether or not you want to apply it. Now, as mentioned here, the first thing we're going to talk about is the 7 pillars of strategic freedom planning system. Now, the main thing about strategic freedom is that there's 7 pillars that this is dependent on. I'm going to zip through them really quick. Then we'll back up and we'll dig deeper into them individually. But they really rest on these 7 pillars, just like a table rests on its leg. First is mindset. Create the environment. You want to, what the processes you use, accountability that you're going to need, being able to utilize time management strategies that are different today than they were in the past, being able to track what's happening regularly, and then lastly, a mastermind group. So here we go. Let's talk about mindset. When we talk about mindset, what are we talking about? We're talking about how you think. And shortly, Dr. Cheryl Ann is going to unpack one of that as we cover that later. But it's really about how you think, thinking about you, right? How you think, your philosophy about you, about your worthiness issues. Do you have worthiness issues? Maybe possibility issues. I meet so many people who just can't see themselves making a bigger impact or stepping out and doing something new or bigger. It's also your mindset about the world, right? We have the media constantly broadcasting a particular picture right now that affects people's thinking, but really you have to decide, the mindset you have about whether we're prospering or we're going to crash, whether things are getting safer or more violent. It's going to talk about your attitude. Do you have a positive, can all do things are possible attitude? With God's help, all things are possible, or the negative counterpart, it's impossible. The other thing that you have to understand about your attitude is that, everyone owes me attitude. You just do enough to get by and not get fired, or is it a disciplined and hard and smart working ethic to do your best, right? To give your best effort of success. Are you a giver or a getter, right? Do you take or do you give? It's also your mindset about life. About money, right? When you think about, how do you save your money? I'm noticing my slides. I missed it. It is about life, right? Do I have a purpose to fulfill in my life, or am I just here to exist? And life has no meaning. I'm just going through the motion, and when I die, everything is over. It's also your attitude about money. Do you use your money just to, pay your bills and save what's left, or do you save your money and spend what's left? It's your attitude about time. How do you use it? Do you value it? Do you spend it or waste it? Do you leverage it? Do you invest it? How are you using your time? It's also about how do you improve do you have a mindset of improving your skills and constantly improving? Do you fail to plan, or are you planning to fail, is an old phrase. Are you the kind of person that just kind of goes with the flow kind of person, where you deal with what comes your way and kind of chalk it up and saying, well, it must have been God's will? Or are you a careful planner that, I make the phrase that a lot of people plan their vacations better than they plan their lives or the way they plan their wedding. It's also your attitude about the spiritual domain. When you talk about, do you believe in the Word of God? Are you in a spiritual opposition pattern that keeps you stuck in behavior patterns that keep you from truly fulfilling God's call in your lives? Are you trapped maybe by imprisoned maybe by some of the spiritual forces that we're going to be talking about? Do you have bad habits or mindsets or strongholds that are keeping you from moving forward? That's one of the reasons why, for those of you who came through the process, I gave you the download of the Spiritual Dark Forces Assessment Sheet. And one of the things is we do have in our program is several audios on our webinar that make and address fear and authentic success and some of our other mindsets that we can't address on this particular webinar. But the next thing we want to talk about is you want to create the environment for dreaming, right? You want to begin, obviously, with prayer. You want to believe that all things are possible. Don't judge when you get into the dreaming process. You don't want to judge things that come up at this point. You just want to jot these things down. And then one of the things I like to say is, if you have a benefactor who is bankrolling you, someone who was going to fund you completely, what would you do? How would you fund that particular dream? If he was there to give you everything, how would you do it? Sorry, my folks just came in, my family just came in and kind of distracted me there. And again, the second thing is, if you're not afraid of anything, what would you do? If you didn't care what people said, you didn't care whether you succeeded or failed, you just didn't give a darn, what would you do? Would you pursue a lifestyle business? Would you travel the world? Would you focus on having a deeper, loving relationship? Would you get on shape, right? Would you get out of debt and replace your 401ks in your retirement? That whole process. The second thing you want to do is use music. If you tuned in here, you heard some music that I love. It's called Whole Tunes by Michael Tyrrell, who was taught the 7 key frequencies that God gave to David, and created some beautiful music that I'll touch on later. But do you have music that set your heart ablaze. It gets you to start dreaming. I provide music in our course, but you want to use that music when you sit down to do your dreaming. And then pull out some dreaming sheets. Get a blank piece of paper that will let you just imagine and dream, and go get alone with God and the Holy Spirit. And let them fill your heart and your mind like he did with Abraham when he took him outside and had him look at those stars. He gave him a big, big dream. The other thing is find a location that inspires you, whether you go to the beach or a retreat location or a hotel. When I had a little bit of money and not a lot going on, I would go to really extravagant, beautiful hotels, and I'd sit in the patio or the lobby or go out on their beach, and I'd just sit there. I'd begin to dream with that music and start that process of seeing what it is that I'm supposed to do. The third thing is the process. You want to use processes in being able to make your dreams a reality. There's a process that we're talking about here, what I call the strategic freedom process, but it enables you to, first of all, you want to determine what your focus is going to be. There's an old story where there was a guy out on the lake, and he's praying, God, make the wind blow, make the wind blow. And he keeps praying, and finally God comes up and speaks one day and says, well, where do you want to go? And the guy says, I don't know. And so God says, well, why would I need to make the wind blow? And the idea is that you want to have an idea of where you want to go. Which of the dreams do you want to focus on? And this is really where most goal programs stop. They tell you to write the goal down, but they don't then give you the process of how to make that goal a reality. And so the next step in that is what I call the reverse planning approach. You want to, you know where you are, you know where you'd like to go, but it can kind of seem overwhelming when you think of where you want to go. And so the idea is you want to chunk it down into daily, easily taken steps in order to realize that dream. And so it's kind of a reverse planning approach. If you kind of back up and think, if you were following the 4-part video series, I put out an infographic of thinking about yourself standing on the beach in Hawaii. Let's say that's a dream of yours. Well, what do you do just before that, right? You walk from the hotel. Well, what do you do before you walk from the hotel? You get to the hotel, right? Or you unpack your stuff at the hotel. What did you do just before that? You ended up unpacking your bags, and you continue to process that and go back all the way to where you presently are. So you kind of break it down into easily definable chunks that you can take on a daily process. And that's kind of the reverse planning approach. I go into it a lot more detail in our actual course, 12-week course, but that's kind of a rough overview. The other thing is you want to develop a strategy. Now, a strategy takes into consideration, and a lot of people won't talk about this, right? You think strategy is supposed to be this big, complicated thing. And if you got a chance to watch my video again on that 4-part video series, we talked about a strategy takes into consideration the obstacles and the success factors that you're going to need in order to successfully accomplish your objective. So say your objective is to get to the airport to take a flight to Hawaii, if that's one of the objectives. What is the obstacle that could happen? Well, I could have my car break down, or I could have traffic along the way. So that's an obstacle. What is the success factor? Well, I need to have a reliable form of transportation. So a strategy kind of takes that into consideration. And a lot of times we do this naturally, automatically. But when we flesh it out, it kind of gives us that quick reference to review. In the airlines where I work, we have been trained on emergency strategy. When something goes down and wrong, we're trained to respond automatically because we've practiced these strategies over and over and over again. And it's so much more effective than not knowing what to do when something happens. Then what do you do? So it's really effective when you develop an effective strategy. The other thing that we want to talk about too, as I mentioned, is accountability. Who's going to help you be accountable, and why do you want them to be accountable? You see, many of us, and the reason why you want to have somebody in your life is that many of us are unable to honor our own commitments to ourselves. We seem to do it to others, but when it comes to ourselves, I mean, we literally become liars, cheaters. We can't trust ourselves. Why? Because we've not learned how to hold our own selves accountable, be honest with ourselves, to honor our own word. Like I said, we honor our words to others, but we've got to get to where we can honor our words to ourselves. Now, that's why many times you can't believe in yourself when you think about a dream or a goal. So having an accountability partner helps to hold you accountable. It ends up keeping you with the ability to aim at your target and follow through. So it's critical. This whole presentation that I'm putting on today, there's one of the reasons I asked Dr. Cheryl Ann to be here is it's accountability, right? There's no backing out. I've got somebody that I respect, that I trust, that I want to do well, and so I don't want to let them down. I sent out emails to everybody. I don't want to let that audience down. So it holds me accountable. It's interesting. I had a Twitter exchange with somebody, and it was interesting. I had asked him if he had a coach, and because he was saying he wanted a coach, and I asked him if he had one, and he told me that he hadn't found anybody that he could respect, that he wouldn't want to let down. And he thought, well, maybe, my father-in-law. And so I shared some tactics and strategies with him that we use to build accountability. And then I made this statement. I said, until you can become yourself the man you don't want to let down. So you can see my tweet there. And he comes back and he says, that last statement is a clincher. So you want to have an accountability group to help you honor your word to yourself, to others, and to help keep you focused on your target and follow through. Now, in my Strategic Freedom program, I've got a whole section on what to do to make your accountability partner available, sheets you can fill out. But the key here is someone that you respect and honor to hold you accountable. Now, it can be your spouse, it can be your prayer partner, even your customers by announcing something that you have to deliver on, like I did with my emails, maybe a peer in your industry, or it could even be, your children. And the other day I was driving with my daughter. We were taking her to the chiropractor. And, I want to abide by the law in all that I do. And there's an old saying that the last thing to get saved is your foot. So we had forgot the paperwork at the house. So I had to zip back to the house. And so I'm driving back and my daughter's like, you're going fast, right? I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. So she was holding me accountable and I had to abide, right? So again, your children can be a great accountability person. The other thing we talked about, number 5, is time management hacks. Now, really, what you do in 24 hours is really going to separate where you end up in life, how you use your time. If you think about it, we all have 24 hours, whether you're Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs, whatever, the late Steve Jobs, or you're a mom at home that's trying to take care of the kids and manage the family and homeschool. We all have that 24 hours. But the difference between those that have from those that have not is really how they set aside and use their time. Let me take a drink here for a second. Feel myself getting parched. Do we set aside time to learn and grow, or just watch TV when we come home after a long day's at work? Do we just listen to music in the car, or do we do books on CD or books on digital podcasts, right? The other thing is when it comes to completing tasks, do you focus on mission critical tasks, or do you focus on time waster, busy work, or do you do what I call DDA, duplicate, delegate, and automate? The strategies that we used in times past for time management don't work today. The reason is there's just so much to do. Darren Hardy shares in a powerful program called Insane Productivity some of these new strategies and tactics that have to be used, because the old strategy and adage of, the touch once technique, right? You touch a piece of paper once, do what you have to do, and then file it. There's just too much paperwork. There's too much to do. So what do? How do you manage your day today, in today's world, differently than what you did in times past? Well, there's a little simple hack that you can do. When something comes up, you evaluate, is this mission critical? If I were to have three main things, as a multi-billionaire, Darren talked about this, who did what he called his Holy Trinity on Sunday. He would map out on a piece of paper, draw a cross, and this was his Holy Trinity. I call it my sacred focus. Goal number one, or his Holy Trinity goal number one would be his first goal for the year, goal two, second goal, goal three for the third year. And what he would do is he would focus on that week. What are the three main things that I need to do for this week to accomplish these big goals? And once those things come out, the technique, when something comes up, you evaluate, does it fit within those three goals? And if so, then put it into a calendar right away, whether it's your Google Calendar that reminds you, or it's a paper calendar that you use. Actually write it down, just like you would a doctor's appointment, because a doctor's appointment, we use the calendar for that and we show up to the doctor. But why aren't we using that in our own life to do the things that are important to move us forward in accomplishing the vision that God has for us? So write down the actual task into the specific day. No exceptions. Once it's in the calendar, you're more responsible for it. And that's why it's so key. I mean, if you come to it and you need to move it around, that's fine, but get it in the calendar. And if you can, put it onto a specific time of day, just like you do the doctor's appointment. So let's move on to point number 6, tracking, right? Monitoring your life's GPS. When you have an internal GPS, you can kind of evaluate if you're on course or off course, right? Do I have peace? Do I not have peace? Because when we're on course, we have this sense of peace. When we're off course, there's just something wrong. We can't put our finger on it, right? So when we have that internal GPS, we can begin to evaluate with that peace, no peace evaluation. That kind of helps us. But the second big thing that we do when we have an internal GPS that helps us is we want to have regularly scheduled plan, do, review sessions. Plan, do, review is what we used to call it, just like what we do in the airline business, and like an airplane pilot does. Sure, you wouldn't want to get an airplane unless you knew the pilot did this, but one of the things that people don't realize is they're constantly off course, and the winds and the weather and the circumstances are constantly pushing them off, and so they have to make continual adjustments along the way every second to stay on course. A lot of it now is automated with autopilot, but it takes it into consideration. And so to stay on course in your life, just like driving across the country on vacation, you need to regularly check your map. And what is the maps that we have? But it's our plans. We check our finances. We check how we use our time. And so you want to be able to set aside time at the end of the week to review your week. Set aside time at the end of the day to review your day. At the end of the week to review your week. At the end of the month to review your month. At the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, etc. You want to have those opportunities to review these areas. You want to review your plan, right? You want to review your finances. Jim used to say, I don't understand. I still got checks in my checkbook. Why am I bouncing money, right? Because he wasn't planning his finances. You want to have a plan for your marriage. Evaluate what's going on. Is it doing well or is it deteriorating? Also, you want to have a plan for your family. I have this 3x5 card for every member of my family, and I review that during the day. Like I have a day for each child. I have a day for my wife. I have a day for myself. I have a day for my business and my people, and I use that to review what's going on and to pray for them. You also want to have a plan for your health, right? Review that. Are you on course? Are you off course? I had a great plan, and back in January, on the 31st, I ended up getting sick, and I was sick for 43 days with 103-degree temperature. Didn't know what was going on, but it totally derailed my health plan. And so now when I review, I see, oh yeah, I got to make this an effort. If I didn't, I'd find myself in a position I don't want to be in. So you want to have a plan for all those. And you also want to have a plan of who are you responsible for? That's really important to help you, review that plan. What are you responsible for? Who are you responsible for? So that will help you to review that. And again, if you track these things, you develop this internal GPS and you kind of know something's not right. So that's why it's so critical to have a tracking system. Now, real quick here, let's move on to the seventh. You want to have a mastermind group, a multitude of counselors, if you will. In the book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talked about the power of a mastermind group. If you haven't read it, then definitely go read it. You can get it for free at, let me see if I put it up there for you. You can get it free at freepdfs.org/pdf/think-grow-rich. He elaborated in that book on the significance of a mastermind. And even the scriptures were told that no one goes to war without counsel, that there's safety in the multitude of godly counsel, and that where two or more come together in my name, that God, through the Holy Spirit, put that in there, make sure, Holy Spirit is there, that they're in our midst and that they're guiding and instructing us. And this is where you're going to gain that valuable heavenly insights and wisdom. And you have to think about this, right? Corporations have board of directors to brainstorm with, to ensure that they follow through. Super Bowls can't be won without a team. And so you want to have a mastermind group and develop the skills to help them to focus on what you need to do. Now, I want to share with you, I know I zipped through that stuff, but I've got to emphasize this process works. This process can be used in every single area of your life. It can be used in your spiritual growth, in your health, in your marriages, your family, your business, your finances, and even for those of you, with your purpose and your mandate. Because if you're not reaching them, it has to do with something in one of these areas. I can promise you that. But one of the things that I like to share is this great quote: when you commit to this process, something changes in your mind and your heart. It moves you from wanting to just kind of wish and hope to really becoming determined with a clear step of commitment. William Hutchison Murray had this beautiful quote, and I've highlighted it here in yellow, that until one is committed, there is hesitancy, a chance to draw back, always in effectiveness. But concerning all acts, sorry, my daughter has decided to show me our dog Nacho with a little sombrero hat on his head. Anyways, but concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas, splendid plans, and that moment that one definitely commits oneself, then all providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never have otherwise occurred. A whole stream of events, issues from decision raising in one's favor of all manner of unforeseen incident and meetings, material assistance no man could have dreamed of would come his way. And then he finally says it, whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genuine power, magic in it, begin now. And when I committed to this process, everything began moving in my direction. Sometimes things I did not expect happened. Problems ended up being blessings in disguise. Websites went down, which caused me to come in contact with an old friend, where we chose to build an online coaching company. When I used this strategic process in my life, and like I said, I got the needed insights. Our masterminds came up with strategies and tactics that employed our efforts, because I was building this coaching program online. It was a 90-day period that we had. And when I committed to the process to do what I'm sharing with you here, I did this process. That online business went literally from just an idea at the time of inception to making more than $45,500 a week. And it happened in 90 days. And like I said, we used all the steps that I'm talking about. And when we did, we got the needed insights. Like I said, our masterminds came up with all the strategies and tactics that amplified our effort. We made those minute distinctions that need to be made about authority that we could implement in our campaigns. And as I like to say, the wind began to blow on us as I shared, and the revenue definitely started coming in. And so what I want to share with you here real quickly is anybody can do this, and they can learn how to literally go from 0 to hero. All it takes is committing to this process and begin the planning, identifying what's in the way, what you have going for you, taking the time to flesh out all the details and the skills and other insights. Use the reverse planning approach that I talked about. Do the plan, do, and review each week and month. Get an accountability partner, form your mastermind, and literally before you know it, you're going to be standing in your God-given vision. Now, does that mean that it's going to be smooth sailing along the way? No, it's not going to be that easy. And if you ignore the principles, it can be a disaster. But as I mentioned here, and you can see on the slide, it can be, but it's up to you. You've got to determine whether you'll believe, whether you'll do it well or half-hearted. It literally is up to you. It's Jim used to teach me is things are easy to do, but he also said that it's also easy not to do. And what is hard though, and what he taught me, are the regrets, the results that you're going to encounter in your life if you don't keep growing. The regret is just, you used to say, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. And if you don't follow these principles, you're going to end up finding yourself in regret. There's a great book that I've been reading called Yes, Yes, Hell No. And what it's talking about is you want your body, you say yes to these things, yes to moving forward, but when you start to see the big goal, when it gets in front of you, there's a tendency for us to say, hell no. And so I can tell you this process works. It can help you get through that hell no process. Now, let me just share with you real quickly the main reason people don't see the results they want in their lives. And one of the things is the reason is they fail to apply these principles that we're talking about. Now, the scriptures tell us that my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And they perish for a lack of knowledge literally in two areas, the spiritual area and the natural area. In the spiritual realm, they are unaware of the unseen forces, the dark forces that are holding them back and how they got there. And they don't know how to properly deal with them. I mentioned in the landing page of this presentation at the beginning, we were going to talk about the 7 core needs. We have 7 core needs that if we don't fulfill them right, then we set ourselves up for the negative spiritual forces to literally set up camp in our mind and our emotions. And these forces then put pressure or force literally to cause us to abandon that process. It puts pressure on our mind and our emotions and causes us to quit doing the things that help move us forward. And that, whether it's wrong beliefs or it's the wrong philosophy or the deception of whether something is important or not, but this process that we're talking about would guide people on how to grow and change, but yet they ignore it. And as a result, they don't get the dreams they have wanted for so long. The other area is the natural process, right? They don't develop the skills in their free time. They're unwilling to gather the knowledge and the expertise that they need to reach their objectives. And like I said, it's no different than going on vacation, right? Excuse me for a second. Pardon me. So it's, like I said, more people invest more time planning their vacation each year than they do their lives. And so if you decide and commit on where you want to go, and then you plan it all out, where you want to stay, how you want to get there, how much money you're going to need, what you want to see and what you want to do, right? They architect that, they design that really well. When it comes to their lives, they don't take that into consideration. So, and then they don't begin to execute. But the thing is you have to understand every corporation sets aside time each year to use this process. And that's one of the reasons why I set aside this time in September, moving into October, because this is the time to begin planning your life down the road for the next year. And the thing I used to tell people, I tell my wife, if corporations take the time to orchestrate their life, their businesses, isn't your life more important than a multi-billion-dollar organization? I think it is. That's why I'm here sharing these things. And that's one of the reasons why I'm sharing this. And it's one of the reasons why traditional goal setting never works. I used to write goals down for years. Things like, I want to go to Australia, or I want to be financially independent, or I want to impact the kingdom of heaven, or lose weight. I want to be close to God, but there was no clear, fleshed out plan to go from point A to point B. And so what ended up happening is I never achieved that goal. And so that's one of the main reasons why people don't get the results. And so I've got to ask you a question. And let me put it this way. Since God paid a huge price for your salvation, for those of you who are here that have accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and have taken that step, He paid a huge price for your salvation. Then I've got to ask, isn't it fair to reason that your life is just as important as Procter and Gamble's balance sheets and profits? Right? I mean, what would happen if you used the same care and focus as Procter and Gamble does? The other reason, like I said, that people, they just abandon the planning process, as you saw. They altogether just don't do it. They neglect one of the most powerful tools at their disposal. And all throughout the scriptures, if you do a study, as I mentioned in one of the videos on planning, you'll see just how important it is. So I have a question for you. Let's just zip through that there. And ended up doing that. Sorry about that. What do you want? Oh, that was all right. I forgot to mention, we have these 7 core needs, right? Sorry about that, folks. You have dignity. You've got authority, blessing and provision, security, purpose and meaning, freedom and boundary, intimate love, and natural affection. Those 7 core needs, if you don't meet them the right way, if you don't plan to have them met the right way, what ends up happening is we open the door for the dark forces of life to come in and fill them the wrong way. And when we do that, those forces then go to work and prevent us from doing the things we know we should do. How many of us know we should go out, exercise, and get in shape? But yet it doesn't happen because we don't feel like it, or we feel tired. Again, these dark forces are at work, influencing our lives. And so, again, if we play a little platform, let me zip through that. It looks like I got behind there. All right, so my question, what do you want in your life, right? Do you want more intimacy with God? Do you want better relationships with your spouse, your children? Do you want your own business? Do you want to be a speaker, an author, or launch your favorite book or your new book? Do you want to make more money so you can help others, maybe travel the world or do things for the Lord? Or maybe you want more freedom and creativity, or you want to have, like I said, more intimacy with God. Whatever it is that you want, I want you to focus on you at this point, right? Whatever it is, that process to make that happen. And I have to tell you, nothing great ever happened without a plan. Even God had a plan on executing. So let's talk about you, okay? Here's the deal. You're watching this webinar right now. You've invested time sitting here learning all of this. For those of you stuck with me, you've been with me the entire time we've been together, almost, what time is it here? About an hour and 15 minutes that we've been together, a little bit more. You can see and realize that what we've been covering, you probably know by now that, planning for your life and your business, no matter what you want to accomplish, is a good idea. And I think you would agree with me that you're probably sensing an area of conviction a little bit of areas in your life that need to be shored up. And like I said, you probably know that planning is a good idea. So the question I have is, if you know that you were to properly plan out your dreams, would radically increase your chances of success. If you knew that nothing great happens without a plan, that you would realize your dreams faster, and it would be an awesome experience. I think you would agree. And that's why I designed the 28 Days to Freedom program. It's a hands-on, step-by-step workshop that walks you through the very process that I zip through here, but in greater detail over the course of 12 weeks. And it's the same process that I use to direct my own life, my business, my family, my children, everything, as well as my coaching clients. It's a system that I called, it was developed from a program that I called Strategic Freedom. It's part of the coaching module along with the Strategic Freedom Planning System. And it really helps you to, first of all, identify what your life purpose is in your dream. It shows you how to begin dreaming again. It teaches you how to overcome your fears. It shows you how to break through your constraints, your behavioral patterns that are holding you back, the dark forces. It helps you to map out the exact steps that you need to take to reach your dreams. And it ends up revealing to you, literally, I kind of joke about it, but it's true. It reveals the simple but stealth tactics of the most elite helicopter team in the world. And I can tell you, if they can ensure that they can deliver their secret warrior client to anywhere in the world, plus or minus 30 seconds from their projected time, then what do you think it could do to help you radically improve the ability to reach your own desired goal? So I have a question here. I'm going to take a moment and just pause for a second. Okay, back online here. Just needed to control some of the background noise. So if you want to basically, let's just say, lost my PowerPoint. If you want to increase your income, or maybe you want to finally lose that weight, or like I said, maybe you want to deepen your relationship with the Lord, or maybe make the impact that your heart yearns for, or maybe if you want to have more peace of mind, or you want to identify and overcome the spiritual forces that are holding you back. If you're ready to really finally realize your dream and vision of that big plan or goal that God has for you, then I want to tell you that this program, 28 Days to Freedom, is for you. Okay? As I mentioned in the beginning, if you're a veteran planning person, then what you learn in this system will certainly take you to the next level. Because it's a lot different in regards to typical planning process, just in the reverse planning and strategic process alone, but more importantly, in learning how to strategize the unseen forces that are blocking you, how to strategize and overcoming them. It's going to be a huge help. If you're new to what dream architecture is about, goal setting is one thing, strategic planning is another. But if you want to do it correctly the first time, instead of taking years like I did, you want to accelerate your learning curve by using this dream architecture approach. But if that fits, then I want to tell you this is for you, okay? And it's also equally important for you if you're anybody who wants to get past the frustration that you've experienced in your life. In a moment, I'm going to have Dr. Cheryl Ann come on board and share something here shortly. But a lot of us are met with frustration because we've learned some of this stuff, we've gotten bits and pieces of this stuff, but it doesn't seem to work all the time, and we don't understand why. And one of the things that was taught to me years ago is that, particularly for those of you who are in the faith, the sheep can only eat the third crop of a harvest. They can't eat the first crop. It doesn't do their stomach well. They can only eat the third harvest, which is interesting. You think of the number 3. The success philosophy that's out there is the world's philosophy. It's the same temptation, if you will, that was given to Eve in the Garden of Eden. If you eat of this fruit, you will have the God life. you'll be like God. I call it the good life, right? And it's a false teaching. It doesn't work. And so if we as people of faith try to digest that crop, it doesn't work for us. It doesn't help us. And so we really need to use the approach that God created, the third harvest, if you will. And so that's what I'm sharing with you in this 28 Days of Freedom program. It's a proven system that has worked extremely well for me over the last 15 years that I've used it. It's enabled me to build, online businesses. It was one of the key strategies that helped me get to that place of generating $45,500 a week within 90 days from inception to market. It works really, really well. And you can model this because it's that third crop. It's the way God wanted us to learn. And if you can model what's been working for me and apply it to your own life and business and ministry, the results are going to be incredible. So let me just share with you how we do it. This is how we're going to accomplish you building your ideal dream life and launch you on your journey in literally 4 weeks. Now I say 4 weeks, called 28 Days to Freedom, because it really has 4 modules. It has, in session number 1, week 1, we call Demolishing the Dark Forces. If you can't deal with these dark forces up front and learn how to deal with them on an ongoing basis, then you'll constantly be derailed and you'll remain locked into the patterns that are holding you back right now, keeping you from realizing your dreams. In module 2, week 2, we cover the dream architecture approach. It comes with specific music that you can listen to literally help you begin dreaming. We go through a specific process to help you get back into the presence of God, begin to hear from him, and we use these strategies to help elicit what your sort of like your dream sequence and help you get in the mood, so to speak. In module number 3, we talk about reverse planning. This is where I teach you how to use the reverse planning system that is unpacked in the ebook called Pilot Vision, and ask any questions that you have that you need to get clear on what you need to do. And then module 4 is the strategy. That's where I break down the reverse planning process into a strategy. And I actually give you a fillable PDF strategy form where you can flesh it out, then put it into your calendar. But we're going to discuss something that few people ever discuss, and literally that almost no one will show you. And so what I want to do here real quick is look exactly what's happening in each one of these modules. I'll go really quickly here. But in module number 1, Demolishing the Dark Forces, like I said, we're going to help you identify literally what the dark forces are, what their influence is over you, more specifically, which ones are affecting you in your decision-making process and that are keeping you from doing the activity. We're also going to discuss how to exactly break the dark force that's keeping you from moving ahead, how to identify the ones that are lodged deep down in your soul that you're not aware of. And we're also going to unpack in more detail those 7 core needs that need to be fulfilled the right way, and how to fill them the right way so you don't fall back into those old patterns, habits, those chains, if you will. And that's what we're going to cover in the first week. And if you can remove those blocks, get them out of the way, then you can defeat the enemy that's been trying to rob you of following through, not only in your life, but on this program. How many programs have you taken before that you started that you just didn't complete? And it's because these forces are at work inside you. It's also what's been keeping you from doing all the things that you've wanted to do in your life, but just couldn't, those dark forces. And so you're really going to get set free. And from that momentum, we're then going to jump into the dream architecture approach. This is where we literally create the space for you to dream again and allow your heart to really soar. If you had a dream and it died, it's going to start to come resurrected again. We're going to start that on October the 8th. We're going to discover how to flesh out your dreams and plans then, literally how to enhance that dreaming and creative juices that will enable you to get into that space where you can hear from God. We're going to talk about the accountability templates and identify who's going to be on your team. We use a very clear filtering process so you can focus your energies on the most critical goals you need to accomplish. And this is really going to save you a ton of time. It's going to help you focus on what is mission critical. But this process is also going to really build a lot of momentum in you because we have literally 90 days starting on October 1st till December 31st to get you focused and launched onto your dreams. And this process is going to motivate you to do that. So if you can't realize your dreams after this, then you're going to end up knowing what it is that's stopping you, because that's what's holding you back from realizing that dream is one of those dark forces. So that's going to jump us into module number 3, the reverse planning approach, where we reveal and really understand. It's from the book Pilot Vision. We reveal and look at your dreams and the business world through the eyes of a pilot in order to be more successful. And it's really interesting to have that understanding. I have to tell you that these insights are going to make you have that great aha moment, because how many of us have flown in airplanes or even driven our car on vacation? It's a similar approach. When you can see how to do that, it's going to give you that great aha. But it's also going to help you unpack exactly how to use this simple planning hack that enables you to literally reach your dreams if you don't quit. Okay. And the reason I'm doing this, like I said, is because I have this 90-day window to help focus you. And if you use this process, I can use it to help qualify you for what we'll be talking about here coming in 2019 that I'll be teaching later in the year to literally help you get launched up and help you fulfill your dreams through business and entrepreneurship, if that's the venue you want to take. But I have to say, and I say this, I believe that everybody should be an entrepreneur. And the reason I say that is because God is the ultimate entrepreneur. And I think, from if I understand the scriptures correctly, Dr. Sharon, you can correct me on this, but we're supposed to be transformed and made into his image. So if that's the case, then we have to have some kind of entrepreneurial outlet for us that he might be able to move through. And entrepreneurship is the only place that everybody can be touched. Bankers, your vendors, your suppliers, your customers, when you go to your family, the leadership, your church, there's no other place that reaches and impacts the world so significantly as the entrepreneurial marketplace, the entrepreneur. And so having a solid plan in place to be successful as an entrepreneur is instrumental. Now, I know you don't want to hear any excuses, and I know I don't want to either. So you've been on this webinar now for some time, and I want you to picture this for a second. By week 3, you're going to end up having identified what's stopping you. You're going to remove what's stopping you. You're going to open your heart to your dreams. You're going to flesh out your purposes and your vision. You're going to identify the most important steps to achieve your dream, right? You're going to develop that map to achieve it. You're going to be given the tools to deal with fear, and you're going to clarify your motives so you can experience true success. So now with that, I'm going to share with you module 4, because it's something few people discuss or talk about. It's something that we do naturally, like I said, but when you see the lights, you're going to have that aha moment. And that in module 4 is the strategic planning approach. Now, everything we've learned, we're going to tie it all into this particular process and apply our knowledge and our insights to this last module. Now, I have to tell you, you probably are not going to learn this anywhere else. Not very many people talk about it. As a matter of fact, most people that talk about it in this grandiose, big, giant corporate thing that makes it seem intimidating. To date, I've not seen anyone do anything like this at this point. But you're going to get a detailed process map that gives you literally laser-like focus and understanding on how to put all of this together. I'm going to walk you through my own planning sheets. I'm going to let you see them so you can see how they come together, and it'll give you a template to start using on your own. We're going to learn the stealth productivity hacks that will ensure you get stuff done. Now, I want to give you a quick little notice of power, if you will. This that I'm sharing with you is the method that I use to bring in more than $45,000 in revenue in 1 week when we flip the switch on our system. I'm not saying you will, I'm just telling you how effective and powerful this is. And in this 90-day program, I'm going to teach you how to build that system if you want to take that step. But this is the first core program that you've got to get down before you can begin the other 3 core programs. Otherwise, everything that you're doing is just going to be ripped out of your hands. And so I've got to say, I'm really excited to see what this can do for you. But like I said, I'm going to share with you the planning templates, the opportunity filter I use, inspirational music you're going to get. You're going to get transformational MP3s. And in the final program, if you will, like I said, I want to give you the process, give you a mind map of all this stuff so that you have some templates to speed up your time and your learning curve. But I also want you to be able to literally, like I said, decorate your house metaphorically so you can just move in. Anyways, I want to give you these templates so you can see examples, save you time and effort. But in the module 5, the wrap up, this is where we're going to go live. This material is drip fed to you each week. And then once a week, I meet with you to answer any questions concerning the materials you have. But on the wrap up, the final day, the final program, this is where we're going to answer as many of the questions that you might have. It's a live Q&A that will help you take everything you've done and begin to focus it on what it is you're trying to accomplish. And like I said, you're going to get the exact planning system that I use to generate that $45,500 in 1 week. Now, like I said, it pretty much put everything I was doing on steroids. This is kind of your path to success, if you will. If you look, we got module 1 through module 5. Those are the main core modules that we talk about. But I want to talk a little bit about the investment. I mean, you can see real quickly here, I say investment because you're going to develop a skill that's going to bring you significant results. And as you can tell, there's a lot to the 28 Days to Freedom program that I have here. But the investment, when you think about investment, and let's just talk about this, right? Price is something you can't recoup. But when you spend it, it's gone. But an investment is something that returns dividends and profits over to you again and again and again. And so if you work with me one-on-one, if you were to go work with me on one-on-one, if you were to hire me as the CEO, I do a thing where I can be the CEO for you for 6 months. It's $6,000 a month for 6 months. If you look at my consulting rates, they run anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. If you want to come on board and have me coach you, it runs anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Now, if you go to my website and you look at the Strategic Freedom Program, just the Freedom Program, not the 28 days, if you look, there's 3 options there. There's a one-on-one coaching option where I do this one-on-one with you. That's $4,800. It's basically $700 a month for 6 months. If you take this, the Strategic Freedom Group Coaching Program, that's $350 times 6 for $1,200. Or if you do the Strategic Freedom Do-It-Yourself program, it runs $597. And I have to say that this class that we're going to be doing is equally as valuable. Actually, I would say it's even more valuable, but it's way more affordable. Here's just so you can see the actual image on my website. And like I said, it's way more affordable. Strategic Freedom 2.0, if you go look at that, is basically a $797 program that we're talking about. But I want to mention that if you can enroll today with the program, you can get involved for 8 easy payments of $100. But I want to tell you, you can save $100 more and make one simple payment. Looks like I have a typo, so I'll have to honor that, of $697 if you do end up wanting to invest today. But let me share this with you. It gets better, right? Remember those TV commercials? But wait, there's more, right? Why do I do this? Because I want to honor those of you who are truly committed to improving your lives, and those of you who demonstrate by acting quickly. And I don't want to do anything to stop you from fulfilling your purpose. And so a lot of people ask me, well, then why don't you do it for free? And that's a good question. And in my experience, those that things that are free, they don't get used very well, if at all. They actually, if free is the price, it's not significant enough you don't take action. So I'm always amazed at the amount of money that's invested in personal improvement programming that's wasted because no one asks. And I say that because if I were to charge $5,000 for this course, which I could easily do it. I would say that 90% of the people would apply it to their lives. But here's what we do next. If you enroll today, like I said, you can make 6 easy payments, or you can save $100 by making one simple payment. But here's what you want to do next. If you click the I want to improve my life and business, realize my dreams button below, you can choose the payment plan that suits you best. You can choose the payment plan. You'll get your login information. You'll get a username and passcode that's sent to you by me, and you'll be able to access the bonuses that we're going to make available. You're also going to get instant access to Module 1, which you can start if you want. I recommend waiting till October 1st, but you can start if you want, with all the forms, the books, and the homework. Every week, we're going to release a brand new module each week that's supposed to be sent out with an email that tells you exactly what you need to do before and after the class. We specifically structure it like this to keep it simple without overwhelm. And it's all in little bite-sized pieces that are broken down in 4 chunks, which eliminates overwhelm. It's the #1 reason that so many people share that they've had a hard time getting the results because there's too much stuff. So what I've done is I've deliberately broken it down into simple 4 process steps in tiny bite-sized pieces that we trickle it out week by week so that you can be completed by the end of the 28 days. Now, if you do the work, you'll have a solid plan in place, some powerful skills to use for the rest of your life that will enable you to increase your income or create more peace in your life. You'll find clarity. You'll enjoy the excitement that comes with it. You'll feel motivated. You'll feel secure and at peace knowing that you're finally on track with a plan that's going to help you realize your dreams. And so if you want, like I said, you want to increase your income, you want to finally break through, looks like my PowerPoint has stopped. If you want to break through those spiritual forces blocking you, if you want to make that impact, if you want to have the peace of mind that you're longing for and realize your dreams, if you finally decided to accomplish your purpose, then the 28 3-year program is for you. And I want to encourage you to click on the Enroll Now button that you'll see displayed. But I do want to say it gets better. I have made a promise to you at the beginning of this presentation. For those of you who stay till the end, I want to make the best guarantee ever. And I'm going to share the guarantee and then I'll share with you the promises. You can take this entire class for 28 days. You can download everything. I call it the Ultimate Freedom Guarantee. You take the class for a day. You can download everything. You can put it to work, go through all the audios, read the ebooks, use the planning sheets, listen to the mastermind calls, participate on the webinars, use this whole system, just take it out for a test drive. I want you to identify your vision and purpose. I want you to put it to work, find out what your goals are, filter out what's truly important, create your step-by-step game plan, read the ebook, listen to the music and be inspired, go through the recorded webinars. And like I said, if this were a car and you were taking it for a test drive, I want you to take it on the test track. I want you to take it on high-speed chases through the forest, go through the desert, go 4x4ing with it. I want you to bring it back all beat up. And if you don't absolutely love it, by the end of your time using it, if you decide that it's not for you, and you don't absolutely love it, then just let me know and I'll give you a full refund. Like I said, take the entire class, use everything, see what happens at the end of 21 days of the class, and let me know. No problem, full money back guarantee, no questions asked, okay? It's cool to me, on how to make it better, if you could tell me a little bit about that, but for the most part, like I said, no questions asked, and you can still keep everything. Like, there's no way I'm gonna come over to your computer and say, hey, let me take that off. So just keep it. And I want to mention something here. What I'm going to do, imagine if I were to come over to your house and say, hey, undownload these materials. I don't want you to use them, right? I'm sure you would realize that that's not going to happen. But anyways, I don't want to have that to be a problem. So like I said, there's no wiggle clauses, no shenanigans. It's your word is gold. If you're not happy with it, I don't want you to jump through any hoops. Just say, hey, Raj, this wasn't for me. No problem, instant refund. But what I really want to do to help you, like I said, I've got another bonus that I want to make available to you. Sometimes we need a little extra one-on-one help where we can get focused attention on personal issues that may be holding us back. You know, maybe it's a thought pattern that creeps up. Maybe that's limiting us from moving ahead. Maybe it's a legitimate question that keeps fumbling you up. You know that sometimes you just catch stuff when someone else is sharing their experience. You're talking to a group that you can't get when you're on your own. And so one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing 3 group coaching calls. And that is everybody who's a part of the group, they will get the access to me where we'll actually do a live coaching program, live coaching call around this topic for an hour, 3 times throughout the course of the program. Now, each one of these coaching calls, I could charge $350 a month for. We're going to do this over the course of the 90 days. And I'm going to go ahead and probably end up doing a few more. But if you end up doing that, if you, like I said, if you do $350 a month, it's a total of $2,100. I'm going to throw in 3 of them if you invest today. And that's basically $1,050 value. Okay. I'm also going to share with you, for those of you who sign up, a brand new program that we're putting online, hopefully here in January started, called the Wealth Builders Academy. I'm going to take the experience and the wisdom that Jim Rohn and one of his best students, Larry Thompson, imparted into my life. I'm going to put that together in a weekly program where you can begin learning these particular insights and ideas on a week-by-week method, quick little 5-10 minute digestible piece. You can apply it to your life, and it will radically change everything for you. It's I'm going to give you a $50% discount coupon, off the investment. So if you choose to follow that program come September or come January, it's going to go for $29.97, but I'm going to give you a 50% discount. I'm going to do it for all of your life, and you'll remain that. We'll talk about that some other time. I also want to make available for you today as a bonus a 2-for-1. If you want to move forward and you want to be a part of this program, if you want to bring someone with you and split the cost, you can do that. This will not only help you, but it'll empower someone else to fulfill their God-given potential and equip them with the understanding that they need, that they must have to realize their dream. Now, this bonus, you've got to sign up by 11:59 Eastern Standard Time on the 29th of September. Now, real quick, I want to give you just a real quick recap, and then I'm going to talk about something special that Dr. Cheryl Ann is going to make available, and she's going to talk about it here briefly in just a minute. So we've got the 5 drip-fed sessions that are in the program. We've got the valuable bonuses, the replay for 12 months. You're going to have coaching guides within each module. You're going to have a private collaboration platform where you can brainstorm and communicate and collaborate with each other. You're going to have transformational audios that are made available to you. And here are the sessions on each week. You'll see we're going to unleash one of these. But in session bonus number 1, we're going to have what we call the Alcatraz mind, which I'm going to talk about that in just a second with one of the bonuses. And then we're going to talk about the 2 bonuses that Dr. Cheryl Ann Needham is going to be sharing with you. So let me just move in here real quick. Like I said, a recap. We've got the 4-week strategic freedom planning system. We've got 6 easy payments of $100. You can save an additional $200 if you purchase today. 3 group coaching calls worth $1,000. 50% coupon off the brand new program that we'll be releasing. The 2-for-1 program, and my ultimate freedom guarantee, where you can take the whole course and literally try it. If it's not one of the best planning approaches you've ever done, you're not amazed, then just go ahead and return it and keep it for free. Now, I know you've watched this in presentation the entire time. I thank you for that and the time that you've invested. I have to suspect that you're here because you have a desire to fulfill the big dream that's in your heart. And you know, for having stayed here so long. This program has to be of some type of excellent value for you. So I want to help you take advantage of this incredible discount that we're going to be making available, and all the wonderful bonuses, and the can't lose ultimate freedom guarantee. So right now, I'd like you to consider this. Just think about this first. I'm going to give you a hypothetical example. What if you took all of this? What if you took this material, went through the strategic planning system, and you started applying it to some aspect of your life that we're talking about today on today's webinar? Now, notice the word hypothetical here, okay? Because I'm wanting to run this scenario by you, because I found that to truly experience freedom, you've got to be strategic. It just doesn't happen by accident. Let's say you have a goal maybe to earn more income, okay? You go through the program, you learn how to begin maybe promoting this program. There's all kinds of things you can do online that we can guide you to when it comes to that time. Or maybe you want to start your own consulting practice, like say doing webinars, right? And let's say you're selling this course that you're doing for $397 for maybe a monthly consulting fee return, right? Most courses online go for $2,000. So I'm just kind of arbitrarily pulling out $397 for discussion, okay? So obviously, I don't know what you're selling or offering, but you get the idea, right? So let's say you do a webinar and maybe you have 13 people on it. And out of that, 2 sales come of $397, total of $794. And let's say you don't have any back end of sales or anything like that, right? That's more than the investment of the training than we're talking about. Now, like I said, this is not an income claim. It's just a hypothetical example. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by saying that you're going to make $795. Like I said, I don't know your business. I'm just explaining here to give you a hypothetical scenario so you can logically think of this right where you can see the power of this work. Now, where you can get much better results by using this planning system like the way I'm going to show you, instead of just trying to live all chaotically when life just happens and pushes you by. Now, again, all this stuff I'm sharing has been proven in the real world, in real world examples that point, that's what I was trying to make, that's adopted by the most elite helicopter team in the world and the biggest airlines in the world. So I have to tell you, this really, you apply this to your life, it really is a no-brainer. But if you're not happy for any reason, like I said, keep it for free. Before you do, like I said, we're almost done. I wanted to award those who stay to the end this special bonus. It's my honor for honoring your time. Sorry, guys. I've got some people in the background and talking and distracting me, but you've spent your time here, and I want to thank you for honoring that time. And so, as I promised, for those of you who stay for the end, it's my sense that we've all been called to be entrepreneurs, and that God is the ultimate entrepreneur. And we're told that we're to be transformed into his image. But in my way, there is a serious problem with the system that we live in to encourage entrepreneurship. There's always been a problem, and there's actually 2 problems. There's the first is that we've been made afraid to ask questions. We don't want to ask questions. We don't want to buck the system. So when that manifests, when you get the notion that when you want to step out, but you don't know what to do, maybe you're thinking of starting a business, you don't know what to do, you don't know what questions to ask. And so I hear people say, I don't know where to begin. And that's because they've forgotten, or in some cases they've had beat out of them, how to think and ask questions. So asking questions unlocks the mind. And often when I ask someone that question, what do you want to do? They say, I don't know. And they shut their brain down from seeking God from the answers. And in one of my coaching sessions, I give this really easy technique to open that door up so that the heart and mind can actually come up with the answer. And so one of the things I say is, what's a better question to be asking? Secondly, is there's an illusion being played out before our very eyes of people who are stepping out, building a business, or just trying to live the so-called American lifestyle that keeps them deceived and stuck, spinning their wheels, getting frustrated that they're not making reasonable progress in reasonable time, and they're leaving people exhausted and stressed out with little to show for it. And the idea here is that people have been lied to, and that this is a way you can generate easy and quick lots of money. You look at movies on TV, you look at shows, Shark Tank, and there's all kinds of illusions that make us think that this is easy, it's going to be fun, we can make lots of money. And while a business does have more potential than a typical job, and it can generate significant income for those who pay the price and work hard and learn and develop skills, but secondly, we've come to the table with the wrong instructions. We've been given more tasks to do instead of the wisdom we needed to do to outsource many of the tasks to people who could help us. And so as a result, we get overwhelmed. And that's where you and I would come together. I've solved the problem. I created a mini 2-hour program, which I share the secret strategies that I've learned along the way. I've gone down the path. I've had the veil removed from my eyes, if you will, and I want to share that with you. Now, you may be asking right now, what in the world does this have to do with me, right? So I want to give you the opportunity to enjoy this mini program that I share, and it's a 1-hour program. We've solved the problem. It's called the Alcatraz Mind. And in a minute, Dr. Cheryl Ann's going to expound on something she's doing, but it's a 2-hour mini hands-on workshop that I share the insights that I've had the opportunity to be given to me. I'm going to have a special guest who is a master of the mind. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to make available for you bonus number 2, insane productivity hacks. I briefly touched on it for you, but what separates those that don't realize their deepest desires from those who do is how they choose to use their time. And in productivity hacks, Insane Productivity Hacks by Tor Ruslan, he reveals some really cool tips on how to legally steal back 9 weeks of your time. Okay. Now, bonus number 3 that I want to make available. I'm sorry this has gone longer than I wanted to. I want Dr. Cheryl Ann to break in here. Thank you for being so patient, Cheryl Ann. But she's going to be making available a program called Breaking Free from Disappointments. It's roughly, I think, what, an hour and 15-minute workshop, Dr. Cheryl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let me turn over to you. Let you explain what it's about, and then we'll talk about the next bonus after that.
Sure, thanks, Roger. You know, there's so much amazing content in what Roger is offering, and I can't emphasize that enough. And I know sometimes it gets long sitting on some of these webinars, but there's so much richness to it, and just a real desire to provide a complete meal. You know, so often when you sign up for training, it covers a portion of what you need. You know, it may focus on the spiritual aspect or maybe help you with planning. But what Roger's put together is something that's intended to be a complete meal so that you can take your dream and actually see it fulfilled and combine your heart with your head, with your steps, and with your, spiritual relationship as well. And so that's why there's so much content and comprehensiveness that's being offered to you so that you have the full package. So one of the bonuses that I'm going to be offering is something called Breaking Free from Disappointments. Now, I've worked with clients for years in a number of really big industries, so really very astute individuals. They've worked in aviation or the gold industry or oil or healthcare or biotechnology or public and private crowd platforms. And I could go on and on about the industries, but the point is this. These were very astute, talented individuals who were very driven and very passionate. And yet I found a pattern, and that many were bound by a disappointment that happened in the past. Now, if you think of a monkey that spots a banana in a cage, that monkey will say, hey, I want that banana. That banana is really precious to me. And when that monkey sticks his hand through the cage, he can get a hold of the banana. Now, say this glass is that banana, but if I try to now get my hand out of the cage while I still have my hand around that banana, I can't. I'm stuck. And so oftentimes we have things that happened in our past that actually we don't know how to let go of. And they become our precious banana. And so we're actually stuck in the past and we can't move forward. And that's the place that a lot of individuals end up being in. I've been in it. And like I said, really talented, acute or astute individuals can get stuck there as well. So a disappointment could be a financial disappointment. Maybe it was a health challenge. Maybe it was someone who did you wrong. It could be a funding challenge. It could be maybe just an old mindset you had that worked for that season of your life. But unless you let go of that and adopt a new mindset, you'll be stuck. So this class has been incredibly impactful. I literally teach you a process. I have you do it while we're actually in this session, and I'll provide you ample examples so that you can see how this can apply to a lot of areas of life. And this is why this is important to you. You can't move into your future if you're tied, if your hand is still wrapped around a disappointment from the past. And it's a real simple process to learn how to let go so that you can move forward. And when you do that, it's a very empowering thing. And action happens, and you actually are able to reclaim and become a better person, a more powerful person, a more surrendered person as a result of moving forward in a new way. So that's what that session is about. And it's one of the main reasons that people can't move forward, because they're stuck by something that happened in the past. And that's what that's helpful to enable you to do and move forward. And I think, Roger, if we can just move forward to the next slide, that would be great. So that's called Breaking Free from Disappointments. And then the second class that I'm offering is called Rewiring Your Brain for Success. Now, we know from brain research is actually helping us understand what the Word of God has told us for years to do in terms of transforming our mind. The challenge is we didn't really know how to do that. And so if you want to move in a new thing, you've got to have a new mind that will help you take the action steps for that new thing. And so this class is all about helping you and giving you techniques to align your mind with the you who you are in the future so that you can move forward powerfully and confidently, because our mind is actually what enables us to drive our actions and take steps forward. And so those are two critical things. We need to learn to let go of our past, and we need to learn how to rewire our brain so that we can have success and accomplish the things that God's put in our heart. Again, powerful impact. The testimonies I get back from people are amazing. And these are people who have already walked in a lot of success, and yet they realize, whoa, I didn't realize how limited I was by either my disappointments from the past or because I didn't have the right mindset for my future. And so that's part of this big meal that you're getting so that you're thoroughly equipped for the good works that you've been called to do. Back to you, Roger.
Thanks, Dr. Cheryl Ann. I appreciate it. I must say, guys, that as I shared in today's presentation, we talked about the mind and how critical it is. And hopefully you can see with Dr. Cheryl Ann's module how critical it's going to be for you in order to move forward. It's sort of like almost, tell me if I'm right, Dr. Cheryl, it's almost like the thermometer in your house. You know, you can make the set point, say I want the thermometer to be 65, and then when it starts to get 75 degrees in the house, things get really comfortable, it'll kick on the air conditioning and drive you back down to 65. And you know, we get this vision of our future, what we want, and that's the things that get really good and comfortable, but then the set point kicks in and it brings us back down to the reality that we're experiencing, so we don't move forward because of that. Is that accurate?
I think that's a great analogy. I call it the 1 step forward, 3 steps back, 3-step back process. You know, where we get all excited, yes, I'm going to do that, but then we lack the tools, and it's often because our mind hasn't been aligned for what that future is. And we literally will be creating new neural pathways, and all of the worksheets and the planning sheets that Roger's designed are, again, about creating new pathways in our brain so that we can do something. I remembered years ago, and I had a coach at a health club, and he was helping me, and I had been working the Nautilus equipment, and so I had gotten to a point, and he said, okay, next time you come in, I'm going to put you on the free weights. Well, I had never done free weights before. And so first thing he had me do was get on the bench, and he brings over this huge big bar and these weights on the end, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And he said, now don't worry, I've really knocked down your weight because this is going to be a lot more challenging. And so, and I'm going to be right here with you. So when I got this bar, again, I'm on my back and I start lifting it, and I can't keep it straight. And I'm going right and left and right and left. And at one point it just started to veer to the left, and he kind of caught it and pushed it back for me. And I finally got it up. And then I started to go down, and I was again, I couldn't keep it straight. I couldn't keep it straight. And I was so aware that I didn't have a muscle problem. I had a brain problem. I could feel it. There was something in my brain that wasn't clicking. And he said, just keep at it, keep at it. So I did it up, again, up real slowly, going back and forth. I did it down again. It was so exhausting because those intrinsic muscles had to now balance the weight as well as lift it. And so finally, it was around rep 7 or so. And I remembered something happened and it clicked. And I was just able to move that weight up and down in a straight path. And I knew that something had happened in my brain. I didn't know about neural pathways at the time. That wasn't really being talked about, but I knew that something clicked. And so all of these worksheets and spreadsheets that Roger's designed, the course material that I have, is all to help us how to get a new brain, how to have new muscle memory, so that we don't just live in a place of dreams, but a dream without action is really just a failure. And so we want to help you to have the action necessary, which first comes by having the right mindset, so that you can fulfill your dream and actually realize them and experience that fulfilled life. And so that's the purpose of having this robust, dynamic content, so that you get a full meal, that you have everything you need. And this is the kind of content that can be used over and over as you grow and in your life, and as new dreams and new ideas come to you. Now you'll have a toolkit to be able to apply to those things, and you won't be stuck anymore. You won't be the person that just wants to sit home and eat bonbons and watch TV because you feel unfulfilled and you're depressed because you're not moving forward in what's on your heart. And so that's the purpose of all of this training material and the diversity of it. Back to you, Roger.
You just took away my favorite bonbon treat now. Now I don't know what I'm doing. So, well, guys, let me move on here real quick. Cheryl-Ann, thank you for sharing. And I think you guys are going to find this extremely valuable as well. But let me just kind of recap here. I want to make sure that you realize that I'm going to be also doing a special bonus with me for the group of people who want to sign up. I'm going to do one 20-minute coaching session specifically for those people who sign up early and want to apply what they've learned and answer their personal questions. This is going to be one-on-one. It's not going to be in the group. It's just going to be with me. And we're going to focus on your most important question, your biggest frustration, whatever it is that you want to talk about. We're going to focus on that particular thing for 20 minutes. And like I said, that's going to be a special bonus. It'll be for the first 7 people who register for this program. Like I said, it's going to be one-on-one coaching call with me for those first 7 people who register before the webinar is over. It's going to be a one-on-one coaching call with me personally. I said 20 minutes. I'm going to make it an hour. That way we don't have to worry about rushing through it. And like I said, if you were to pull me aside and have me work with you, let's just take a look at the value. And like I said, I do this because I think people fail to understand the value of getting people that can help them. When you look at the results of what they have learned, or the results of from what they've learned, the results that it has, and you look at it just like, say, from a financial standpoint, right? I was doing $45,000 a week. That's basically $9,100 a day. You drop it into a 4-hour workday. It's $2,275 an hour. Why do I share that? Because when you understand the value of time, you end up applying it much more effectively to your life. You don't take it lightly. And so when you realize that I'm going to give you an hour of my time, you tend to come to the table with a lot more commitment, a lot more focus, a lot more drive to make sure you take advantage of that time. And I also wanted to mention this. I know you guys have stayed. I promised I'd make something special. If you do register before the webinar is over, I'm going to take another $150 off. And so the total investment is not going to be $597, but it's going to be $449.97. You can do that in one total payment, or you can make an option where you can do it on a monthly basis if that's something you want. So real quick recap, we got the 5-week strategic freedom planning system, the 3 group coaching calls that are worth $3,000. You can save now if you enroll by investing only $449.97. You'll get a 50% coupon off the new program, the Wealth Builders Academy. You'll get 2-for-1 ability to empower someone else to bring them through this program. You'll get the 4 superpower bonus modules that we talked about there, including Cheryl Ann's 2 modules. And you have my ultimate freedom guarantee, which basically says take the whole darn thing for 28 days, download everything, put it to work. And if it doesn't seem to make you happy, make the results, then you can totally refund it. If you're not completely amazed, it's free. I think that's pretty hard to beat. And like I said, you get all the exclusive superpower bonuses. You get the Alcatraz, Escape the Alcatraz Mine. You get the Productivity Time Hacks by Tor Ruslan. You get the Breaking Free from Disappointments module and class with Dr. Sherilyn Needham, and you get her second one, Rewiring the Brain for Success. Say that 10 times fast. Rewiring the Brain for Success. And again, the one-on-one coaching call with me for the first 7 people. That special one-time offer, again, before the registrar ends today, at an additional $150 off for total investment of $449.97. I want to tell you real quick, we're about ending the webinar here, so this crazy discount will end. Here's a quick summary of the bonuses and when they are going to expire. So I do make these bonuses available if they expire after a period of time. The one-on-one coaching expires after tonight at 11:45. The Escape the Alcatraz Mine expires on the 28th. The bonus 2-for-1 on the 29th. And the bonus $3 to $145 expires after the 29th. Dr. Cheryl Ann's bonuses are going to remain available. I want to make sure that you get those programs. If you're struggling, I know sometimes people struggle with the financial component, financial aspect. I want to encourage you to get a sponsor. A couple of years back, I was struggling again. I lost everything twice, right? I went from making lots of money to making nothing. I had to start over. And that's actually where I met Dr. Cheryl Ann. Dr. Joseph Peck was offering her course called Sound Alignment. And I didn't have the funds, but I believed in it. I had a friend of mine actually refer me to it. And that's why I signed up. I actually called a couple people that I knew. And I sent an email telling them what I was doing, giving them an outline of the course, asking them if they'd like to sponsor me. And a gentleman stepped up and invested the funds in me to take her program. And that's how I got myself back up on the ground again, by getting a sponsor. So if that's your position, ask a couple friends or people that you respect, explain to them what this is about, ask them if they would be willing to sponsor you. And as your life improves, as things start to change, you can sow back into their lives or sow back into the life of somebody else. So again, you've watched the entire presentation. You know that you want to successfully accomplish God's plan for your life. You might realize you need a way to make sense of all the noise that's out there, have a clear, easy to follow system that works. You hopefully realize that this is an excellent value. Hopefully you can realize this is a no-brainer investment. Plus, again, like I said, if you're not happy for any reason, you can keep it all for free. So I want to encourage you to enroll now. You can go to that URL, bit.ly/28 days to freedom. That will take you directly to the page. It'll recap what we talked about, what's being offered, and there'll be an opportunity for you to invest there, both either on a one-time payment or on a monthly payment. One of the things I'd like to do in finishing this off is I'd like to share with you a movie that really, it's a quick little 2-minute movie that really articulates that we created. Actually created this movie several years back. It went around the world. to more than 400,000 people in 7 minutes in 29 different countries. And I think it's so appropriate because I think people need to realize, that God has given you a dream, and that dream is there for a reason. So I'm going to go ahead and fire it up here. Just a second. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. If not, I will make the YouTube video available for you, and you can catch it there. Let me go ahead and cue it up, and let me know if you can hear this, folks. Here we go. Can you hear that? Is it coming through? All righty, everybody. I appreciate you and your time today. I want to thank you for being here. I wasn't sure. I know we've taken a lot of time today and gone through quite a bit of material very quickly, but I wanted to make the opportunity available for anybody that has questions. If you'd like, you're welcome to unmute your mics and ask questions. I'm here. Dr. Shirley Amita will be here for a little bit here too, but I want to make that available. If you have other questions, you can email them in and we'll be happy to respond to you that way as well. So anybody would like to ask any questions, we'll make that available for a few minutes. And if not, we'll catch your emails as they come in. Pat, are you there? I see you. Do you have any questions? All right, well, we'll leave it at that then. Thank you so much for the investment of time that you gave today. I hope you find this valuable. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email us. You can email me at rogerp.gothier@gmail.com. And I'll be more than happy to answer anything you have there. You can also text me at 904-887-6836. Thanks again so much for joining us. Have a great day. God bless, and may you continue your journey in Christ onward and upward. Have a great day. Bye-bye for now.